How's it going, everybody? Thanks for sitting down with us. This is Cam and Bree, and today we wanted to talk to you a little about homeschooling and sort of why we do it, how we do it, and what experiences we've had that have led us to the decision to keep doing it.
So as parents who have been on both sides of the fence, public school and homeschooling, we are going back to homeschooling
After the last 2 years of public school. So this isn't in any way intended as a knock on public school or a promotion towards homeschool. This is just strictly our experience with both. I think public school is great for a lot of kids and for a lot of reasons, and I think the same about homeschool. I think it's great for certain families and probably not for others. I was running out of breath here.
We have the luxury of having lots of land for our kids to be on and animals that they can learn responsibilities from. And I think the last couple years at public school for our sons has been awesome for a few reasons and not so great for a few other reasons, and we will get into that.
So let's start with the why. What would you say was your biggest reason for initially wanting to homeschool the kids?
I felt like a very deep desire when our now 13-year-old Lyric was about 3 years old, and I felt like I just knew, like, deep down inside of me that that is something that I'm gonna do. We were not in agreement with that at first. You had a hard time letting me. You did let me. Eventually you came to and you were in agreement, and you did realize that that was something that you wanted for our sons.
Yeah, I think it was something that took some time for me to get used to. At the time that we started homeschooling, we were pretty young, and it wasn't a popular thing to do at the time, so it definitely wasn't something I had a lot of familiarity with. So I think eventually, as I was able to see them experiencing things that they're not going to experience in a classroom, when we ended up moving up to where we live now, where we were able to start a farm, and the farm became a big part of their curriculum. Seeing the abilities that they were gaining and the skills that they were learning was, for me, a big deal, because I knew those were all things that they weren't going to learn in a classroom. As I got a little bit older, I think I had more appreciation for that.
I became very close with my best friends that I have now who homeschool, and so he was able to see all of these other homeschool families that I had connected with that we became very close friends with. So there was like a support there that kind of felt like we found a community and we weren't just stranded on an island doing this ourselves.
Yeah.
Which is so important. Like, if you are contemplating homeschooling, community is one of the most important things, because that's where you're going to find your support and your group of people when you're doubting yourself. I have had countless times my friend Tasha has had to kind of slap me in the face and say, get your crap together, you can do this, like, I believe in you. And to have that support was crucial to my continuing homeschooling, I think, because it does get hard.
And I think that's probably one of the most challenging parts, or at least, I mean, for you it definitely has been the amount of pressure that you put on yourself at first to keep up with maybe what you think they would be learning in public school, or keep up with a certain standard of where they should be at. And that can make a parent put a ton of pressure on themselves to where you feel like you're failing, you feel like you're not doing enough. And I think it's actually the opposite of that, because you're afforded the ability to set your own pace, to work at the speed that your kids are comfortable and even developed enough to work at.
Most of you watching probably were in the school system. Unschool yourself to get out of the classroom mindset. Allow your kids to not have to be confined to sitting at a desk and doing this kind of work constantly. So if you're a mom who's in the thick of it and you have all of these standards and you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to get your kids to this program and that program, like, it's okay to just chill out and, like, going to a river and studying little ecosystems in the river, and there's no book work needed for that. Finding those studies in nature make school so much more fun than obsessing over curriculums, which I have done, and I still probably will in the fall because they are fun to look at. I know they are fun to shop for. I don't think I will go so crazy this upcoming school year about curriculums. Fortunately for us, having animals and things like that, it is easy to back off on the book work and just really dive into the nature part of life.
And having the farm as well, I think, has given us a really cool channel to teach them larger life skills, whether it's starting a business. Presley's had several businesses selling eggs, selling tea that he's made, selling all kinds of different things.
And he's got a new one coming up. You guys watch out.
A lot of times the kids would come home from public school, and some of the work that they're doing, it's the same work that Bree and I did when we were in public school. It's hard for me as someone that's been in business and been in finance. I've been able to develop in my career without 70% of what I learned there. So for me, I think that's the biggest why.
For me, life skills and allowing them to form their own passions and teach them how to run with it. Like Presley definitely is an entrepreneur. That kid is learning communication skills, how to talk to peers and adults. He's learning how to use his money and invest it back into his business for more products. He's learning how to save his money, and I'm just beyond proud of him for even desiring to do that. It's really difficult even for me sometimes to go to a market and talk to a bunch of adults, and at the time he was 9 or 8, just talking and learning how to open up and sell his product. Well, that is more valuable than sitting in a classroom and I don't even know.
On the direct farm side of things, each one of the kids, even Indy, who's 5 years old, has a better understanding of growing and raising your own food than I would say most kids his age, which in my mind is arguably one of the more important skills that you could have, at least in your toolbox.
And just them following you around and learning how to fix things up, or I tell my 13-year-old the sink's leaking, go fix it, and he does. He fixes it because he's learned just being around you how to do those things. Just giving your kids the power to do those things on their own. But the pros of public school, obviously friendships, finding like his group of people and just creating those bonds with kids that hopefully will last a long time.
And there's obviously the more selfish pros for us in that we are able to have more time for ourselves, or time together, or time,
just quiet
time, to where you're not 24/7 either teaching the kids or making food for the kids, answering 1,000 questions. Exactly.
The other pro would probably be the teachers. We've had good luck with our kids as teachers.
We've had great teachers.
Yeah, I thought the teachers were great, and I really applaud them for handling that many kids and all of the crap that they have to deal with, because homeschooling 4 kids is a lot. I can't imagine schooling 30 kids that you can hardly even discipline. We had a good experience anyway.
And that's a big part of it too, is that in a classroom with 30 plus kids, it's hard, and we've seen it, it's hard for the teacher to dedicate the attention that certain students are going to need, or extra help that they might need with particular subjects. I think for us, that's another one of the big benefits, is that we can focus more closely with each of our sons on areas that they may struggle with, and give that area the time that it needs.
Yeah, I have learned a lot of patience. That is one thing that you definitely need homeschooling, I would say, is patience. Community, number 1. Patience, number 2.
Some of the cons that we dealt with having the kids in public school, I would say influence was a big one. And this isn't to say that you can't shelter your kids from everything, and you can't shelter them forever, no matter what. And that's something that we understand. But I do believe when they're at their most impressionable ages, it is important to be able to lay a lot of the foundation yourself.
We've had to tackle various subjects with our 13-year-old, very, very nasty things that he has learned sometimes just like take you back, where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just asked me that, but let's talk about it.
And things are just sexualized so early now that it's almost like the talk that I remember having when I was maybe 13 years old is now a talk that you have to have with your kids when they're 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So let's get into the how. Now, you've done a lot of different curriculums in the past. What are you steering towards for this year, and maybe which ones have you done in the past that you've liked?
I've tried so many. It's almost more fun for the parent to pick than it is for the kid to even do them. In the years past, we have tried Christian Light. It's a Mennonite curriculum, very black and white, very basic, has a lot of farmy stuff. Loved it. They did it for a couple years, but then The Good and the Beautiful came out. The hot new curriculum that came out. I know so many people who love it. I didn't love it so much. I thought that it was kind of advanced, a lot of parent involvement, which obviously in elementary you're gonna have, and the parent needs to be very involved to teach the kid. But I thought The Good and the Beautiful had so much parent instruction. When you're homeschooling multiple kids, especially at different grade levels, that gets very overwhelming and extremely stressful. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about curriculums, keep that in mind. Christian Light, you could check it out. Probably better that's a curriculum you want to stick through. So if you choose it, it's good to stick through it. They have a really good Bible curriculum, like a Bible unit to study. I love it, and we still have it that we'll use next year. We did easy peasy online. It comes with book work. That was pretty cool. So we've been through a lot of different curriculums. I probably will do an online school for Presley just because it's gonna hold him more accountable. They score everything for him. I'm using Me Academy, Me Academy, MIA Academy. I don't really know. Anyway, it scores everything for me. So instead of looking through all of his book work and like scoring everything, this does it for him. It's like maybe $20 a month, but it's kind of worth it to have that stress or responsibility taken off of me and allow me to focus on Indy and doing schoolwork with him, which I'm not going to do an online program for my soon-to-be kindergartner, although I probably will let him play ABC Mouse as like a supplement. Other than that, I really hope to just teach them life skills and teach them how to grow business and stuff like that. Just let them be kids at this age. And yeah, I've never done an online school before, so if you have done an online school before, that one specifically, let me know what your pros and cons were about that, because I personally would love to hear. If you have any questions about them or anything, just drop a comment. I'd be happy to answer.
The next aspect of how we're going to do this is the side of how are we going to maintain our sanity, our mental health when we're around our kids more than most people are. So I think a big part of that is prioritizing, still taking time to yourself. I work from home, so I'm lucky enough, fortunate enough to have a separate building that I can go where my office is. So I have that separation that Brianna doesn't have. It's important, I think, for you and for me too, to have extracurricular activities that we do, or be able to get out of the house and take some time to fill your cup. So what do you do to kind of maintain your sanity and prevent from burning out or kind of losing track of yourself?
I think burnout is just going to happen. I think it's almost unavoidable. I have a passion for it, and I've lost that passion and picked that passion back up. But the burnout is real, and I personally haven't found a way to completely avoid it. When you're feeling super overstimulated and you're having a rough day in the house, like those pile up. And at the end of the week, if you have a couple rough days in there, it can be really stressful. And to tell your partner, like, I need a break. Like, I need, even if it's just to go to your bedroom and read or watch a movie, there have been times where I have done that, where I just need to get away. To know when you need to remove yourself from the situation. The overstimulation for me comes really fast. And if everyone's yelling or arguing, talking over me, I don't last very long. That's usually when we just stop. Everyone can go outside. Mom needs a break, especially if you're working and like you can't help me. Or if maybe you're a single mom, go outside. You know, rain or shine, being outside can relieve a lot of that pressure. Even like planning your breaks, you can do. It's definitely something that I do.
It's important as the guy or as the other partner to be aware of that, sort of have a keener sense of when they're struggling and be able to reach out and see if they need help. And then on the other end of the coin, it's also knowing when it's always okay to ask for help too. I think having that support system is really important, and being that support system. Also knowing when to reach out to a friend or a peer or a mentor, and you have to have that community around you to be able to let you know that you're doing okay, you're not failing. It's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to burn out. The art is just being able to get back on the horse and keep going.
I think another big thing too is, again, like the community for you as the parent, but also for the kid. We have great library classes that the kids can be involved with for all ages, and like doing STEM projects or music time. So getting your kids involved in things outside of the house is an important part of that too.
There are a lot of online programs out there too, interactive programs for the kids that can kind of fill in those gaps and give some of that foundation and that structure, so that you don't have to build it for them within the curriculum.
Yeah. So with all of that being said, we feel that the benefits outweigh the negatives. I'm a very honest and raw person when it comes to homeschooling. I know parents that just love it and just kind of glow in it. For me, it can be more challenging. I almost see it sometimes as a sacrifice to myself, because I know that it is really beneficial for my kids, even though for my mental health it isn't always. I will put my kids first every time, and that's just one of those things where right now in my life and the season I'm in, it's not like this ultimate joy, like bubbly thing that I'm doing, but I know that it's worth it. I'm willing to like go through that adventure with my kids, and I know I won't end up regretting it, because when you get to spend that time with your kids instead of them being gone for 7 hours a day, you can't get that time back. So I will never regret homeschooling my kids and learning with them and growing with them, claiming that time with our kids. So if you're on the fence of homeschooling or going to public school, if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them for you. We've kind of been through it all.
Drop a comment.
Like and subscribe.